Habang naglalaro kami ng aking mga kapatid, sinabihan kami ng aking uncle na pumasok ako sa bahay. Tapos, sinabihan niya aking mga kapatid na tumulog. Pag sabi niya noon na tumulog, pinahiga niya po ako. At kinuha niya po ang aking short, panty, at mga panty. At humubad din siya. Tapos noon, may pinasok niya po ang ari niya sa akin, ari. Sumabi pa ang ako sa kanya na hindi po. Pero hindi po siya nakinig. Sabi ko sa kanya, maawa naman po kayo. Pero hindi siya maawa.
So we're here now in Pasig City, which is about an hour and a half from Iloilo. And this is the small road leading to Chameleon, which is a center for sexually abused girls. So we're going to go in there and meet some of the victims, and one particular one who has been a victim of incest rape. Lori, whose name we've changed for her protection, was raped for the first time when she was just 7 years old. She was repeatedly raped by her uncle, her mother's brother, for over 3 years. He raped her 2 younger sisters too.
Hanggang naging grade 4 po ako, ginagawa yun ng uncle ko. At nabigla po ako na ginahasa din niya ang aking mga dalawang kapatid. Sa ganun po, parang sinisi ko po yung sarili ko dahil na ginawa yun ng uncle ko sa aking kapatid. Nakita ko po, tuwing ginagahasa po kaming tatlo, nakita talaga namin yun. That's why nangyari po yun sa amin kasi si mama nagtatrabaho. Sabi niya sa akin, tito, naalagaan po kami, pero like, hindi niya po yung ginawa. Parang budlo kasing bahay namin, parang ang aming mga kapitbahay, wala dun kapag nangyari. Minsan, andyan, pero sinasabihan kami na huwag sumigaw. Kasi pag sumigaw kami ng kutsilyo, then, sinasabihan niya kami, pag sumumbong kami kay mama, papatayin niya daw si mama. Pero sumumbong kami. Pero wala pong ginawa si mama. Kay mama at sa lola ko po. Pero sabi nila, hindi yan totoo, hindi yan magagawa ng uncle mo.
Lori and her sisters were given attention only when she finally told her teacher, who encouraged her to approach the head of their village or barangay and the police. In the Philippines, incest happens often, but it's kept a secret within families because of the shame and the stigma that surround it. Rape is the most common form of sexual abuse in the country, followed by incest, then inappropriate touching. The incest rate is pegged at 33%. Incest rape is defined as forced sexual activity between family members. Here, most cases are perpetrated by fathers and uncles. From 2011 to 2016, the Department of Social Welfare and Development said it dealt with a total of 2,770 incest victims out of a total of 7,418 victims of sexual abuse. DSW data says 99.6% of incest victims are girls, majority between the ages of 14 and 17. But there are reported cases of below 5 years old. Its recorded average per year fluctuates from 400 to 500 victims, although even the department knows their data is far from the real number. This is where I met Lori and her sisters. Chameleon, founded by French national Laurence Liger in 1997, houses 50 sexual abuse victims at any given time in their 2 centers. Once under their care, the organization, which focuses on girls from Western Visayas, provides everything for the girls from their basic needs to their education, all the way until college graduation and reintegration into society. Chameleon provides medical care, psychological counseling, physical rehabilitation through sports and circus activities, and even legal assistance for girls who want to file cases against their abusers. Girls stay in the center for an average of 4 years, but some as long as 12. Over the last 20 years, Chameleon has cared for hundreds of sexual abuse victims, some as young as 6. When told about the government's data, Ligier smiles at the inaccuracy. Up to 50% of the girls under their care are victims of incest.
Yeah, the official data are our problem because we are trying to base our study and report with official data, but they are not speaking about the reality. The data of the SWD, the data of the police sometimes are not coherent, and in reality, us who work on the field, we can see that it's maybe times 10.
Caring for incest victims is not easy. Some of the girls are mothers to babies born from incest rape. Others are suicidal. Rape in itself is deeply traumatic. What more when the perpetrator is their father, uncle, or grandfather?
They feel guilty, they feel dirty, they don't trust in adults because like if it's their father, their grandfather who have raped them, for them it was the authority, the one supposed to protect them. They are lost, and especially when it happened since they were very young.
Chameleon has won several local and international awards for their holistic approach to sexual abuse victims, perhaps the best in the Philippines. Yet, as if to emphasize how almost inescapable this problem is, Chameleon sits right next to a jail which houses some of the perpetrators, a constant reminder of their existence. So I'm standing here outside Pasay City District Jail, and guess how close it is to Chameleon? 100 meters. It only took us literally 2 minutes to walk over here, less than a minute actually, and if you can see right there, that's where the girls stood. Ironically, there are some perpetrators are jailed in here, and earlier we heard some stories from Lawrence of some men looking at the girls as they played in the garden or practiced their circus and making catcalls. So the irony of this situation is just quite unbelievable. Although Chameleon succeeded in finding justice for 30% of their girls in the last 2 decades, it's rare that rapists in the Philippines go to jail for several reasons. Based on Iloilo and Capiz province data, less than 2% of perpetrators who sexually abused minors are convicted. Undergoing a legal process is not something all incest victims choose to do, especially because they often don't have the support of their mothers, who choose to protect their husbands or brothers over their daughters. But getting recognized by the state as victims and finding justice is a crucial part of the recovery process. Cedfrey Cabaluna is a private lawyer in Iloilo who has taken on some sexual abuse cases pro bono. While the Philippines anti-rape law of 1997 considers rape a heinous crime, punishable by life imprisonment, the country's justice system can discourage victims from pursuing perpetrators.
You look at postponements, you look at fathers or parents saying, can we settle this case? Can we look at offers from the others, from the other party or the accused? So all these are challenges, no? And sometimes it's so easy to be tempted to settle, considering the length of time already and the stress that is being given to the child victim.
But activists and lawyers reject settlements as much as possible because it does not help the victims' pursuit for justice and lets perpetrators return to their normal lives without punishment, free to rape other girls all over again. In at least one case, a mother settled the cases of her 2 daughters without their knowledge for as low as 15,000 pesos each.
You see what you've done to a victim, what you've done to her future. No? You cannot put an amount to it. How much could you actually put an amount to it? No? You go on with your life, this child is changed forever. No? So a few 100,000, a few 50,000, I've even seen even less. It's crazy. No?
Here's another caveat that makes sexual abuse cases in this country a nightmare. The same anti-rape law declares 12 years old as the legal age of sexual consent in the Philippines. That's 6th grade. It's one of the lowest in the world. Activists are now lobbying to raise the consent age to 16, but at the moment, Many perpetrators argue that their victims initiated the contact, even accusing the victims of flirting with them. The government clearly has work to do too. The Department of Social Welfare and Development is the main government agency in charge of tracking incest in the country. They monitor sexual abuse cases reported to them, and of that number, they differentiate how many of those were perpetrated by family members. We're going to go inside and speak to Undersecretary Hope Hervilia to talk more about this problem. The DSWD has women's centers across the country that care for sexual abuse victims. They provide counseling, medical services, child placements, education, and legal services for victims. They also have information campaigns in barangays on what is inappropriate touching for children. But Hervilia, who has an NGO background, is also first to admit this is not enough. For one, the DSWD lacks the resources. She says the problem's root causes go far deeper. It's also crucial to address the root cause of poverty. In the Philippines, Hervilia says incest cases usually happen in households where parents leave for domestic or international work as overseas Filipino workers. When children are left to the care of just one parent or other family members, incidences are high.
Solve natin yung problema natin sa ating ekonomiya para kahit man lang may trabaho ang mama at papa, hindi nila napabuntunan ng kanilang mga stress yung kanilang anak. Wala nang nanay na lalabas ng bansa, kundi merong nanay na nag-aasikaso ng kanyang mga anak, merong gobyernong sumusuporta sa pamilya. And I think, kung hindi man natin ma-eliminate, I think we can reduce it.
And then there's the culture of misogyny in the Philippines, where men see women as inferior. Hervilia believes this is the deeper problem.
I think it's the culture of how we look at women. When our culture look at women as sexual object, when they're just sexual commodity, so regardless of anak mo ba yan o ano mo ba yan, they can do it. And you are my personal property. So pag anak kita, that means I own you. Buti pa, mas mauna ako o mas ako na lang ang sa'yo kaysa ibang lalaki.
For those like Lori and her sisters, rebuilding their lives from years of trauma and abuse will be a lifetime effort. She has filed a case against her uncle.
Pero sabi niya sa akin, patawarin mo na ako, patawarin mo na ako. Sabi ko sa kanya, napatawad ka na nakin sa harap ng Diyos, pero hustisya ang hinihingi ko. Sabi niya, maawa ka sa akin. Bakit? Sabi ko nun, naawa ka ba nang ginawa mo yun sa amin? Hindi naman, di ba? Bakit mararamdaman ko ng awa at ibigay ko ang awa na hiningi kong noon na hindi mo naman ibinigay sa akin?
Lori dreams of becoming a nurse and has even bigger dreams for her two younger sisters, whom she has cared for as her own daughters. There is anger and deep pain, but Lori says she is trying to move on. She used to fail in school. She is now at the top of her class. Lori says speaking up is part of the healing process to empower those still suffering from this secret abuse.
Masasabi ko po, hindi po sila magpadala sa takot. Sumabi talaga sila, sumumbong talaga sila. At hindi po sila gi-give up sa kanilang life kasi may pangarap din, kasi maaabot din nilang pangarap at maraming tao na tutulong sa kanila. Hindi sila umisit na sila lang na lumalaban sa ganitong sitwasyon kasi marami po yun nang nakaranas.
She knows there are many others still living in darkness and who dread coming home like she used to. Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Manila.